Hi, I'm Bill Sheehy from Latin American Masters Gallery here in Santa Monica, California. I'd like to talk a little bit about Olga de Amaral, the great Colombian artist who we were fortunate to recently have an exhibition with entitled Boundaries. Olga de Amaral has been traditionally categorized as a great textile artist or fiber artist. And what do we mean by that? We mean that her chosen medium was from the beginning textiles or woven materials made from various organic materials. She was seen as an innovator in that field as early as the 1960s. Indeed, she showed at the Museum of Modern Art in New York in 1969. But I think to limit our understanding of Olga de Amaral to textiles or fiber art is to do her a real disjustice. The fact is that Olga de Amaral is an artist who has fused many different traditions with an extraordinary technique that is her own. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that, for starters, Olga de Amaral has understood not only modern textile traditions and been an innovator in the field, but she's absorbed many of the traditions from around the world, ancestral and modern, from Machu Picchu, from ancient Peruvian culture to Japanese screens, from three-dimensional objects, sculptural objects, to painting, from landscape painting to modern kinetic and optical art. She was a great colorist from early in her career. She started painting directly to the surface of her fibered work, her fiber art. She would gesso and primer her textiles, many of them developed with plating systems which were her own, allowing her to work on a very large scale. And she would develop very luminous combinations of paint combined with the gesso, and in so doing create very, very weighted sculptural values to what had traditionally been seen as two-dimensional objects. Starting in the late 1970s and early 1980s, Olga de Amaral's exploration of gold and of the reflective properties of gold became a signature of her work. She had gone to Japan and been aware that artisans in Japan, conservators, were repairing ancient ceramics using gold leaf. And through that experience, she traced her own interest to gold, both in terms of its history in the Americas as being a part of, you could say, the darker histories of the conquest of the Americas, but also the beauty of the colonial churches and its relationship, that is gold's relationship also to the ancient temples and ceremonial artifacts of pre-Hispanic culture. In any case, Olga de Amaral explored the formal values of gold, of platinum, and silver. She began to combine her gessoed textiles with gold and reflective metals and paint them and manipulate their surfaces so that she developed an infinite variety of luminous surfaces and textures. Let's take, for example, her relationship to landscape painting. Olga de Amaral would make a piece in gessoed fabric, cover it in gold, and then begin to paint it in very subtle ways that would allow certain elements of the reflective metals to come through, creating an atmosphere in depth, much like in a landscape. I've been told that her native Bogota is much like this, where the atmosphere, the mist, the particles in the sky, the clouds, mist rising off the floor on a heated day, all create a very rich aura and thick atmosphere that's become a part of her work. One of the things that's most impressive about her work when you see a show, as I did recently here at our gallery, is that no two pieces are alike. Even when she's working all in gold, every piece has a different surface, a different texture. Why is that? It's partly because of her technique, but it's really because she's an intuitive artist who works in the moment. She's not formulaic. And even though Olga de Amaral is working with certain restrictions, fiber and a grid structure, the variety is remarkable. She approaches each piece in the moment with the expressive possibilities open to her in the moment. So where one piece may have a matted, luminous inner glow, another one has a very high degree of reflection. In some pieces, she paints the edges of the pieces so that as you walk around them, they shift and change. The optics of them change. This is an artist who really is beyond definition. The art world really hasn't known what to do with Olga de Amaral. She's clearly more than merely a fiber artist. She's somebody who is not only a remarkable painter with a very strong connection to the color field painters, she's somebody who has a very strong connection with optical traditions that would incorporate artists as varied as Cruz Diaz, Jesus Soto, and the Venezuelan kinetic artists. And she's somebody who has revolutionized the history of textiles by transforming textiles from a two-dimensional to three-dimensional medium. Indeed, the sculptural values of her work, the weighted quality of her work, her sensitivity to the natural world, her incorporation of ancient cultures and modernism make her an artist with an extraordinary vision whose work even goes beyond the confines of modernism. We're very honored to be showing Olga de Amaral's work. For those of you who may not have seen her work before, I hope you'll have an opportunity to see her in our gallery. For those of you familiar with her work, I hope that my brief talk has added some insight. Thank you.